Well, hey guys, I'm here to share with you guys all the sunscreen that I finished up throughout fall of 2023. Now, recently I shared with you guys my skincare and hair care empties video, so check that one out if you're interested in all of the non-sunscreen products I finished up. But today is just sunscreen, which is my favorite thing in the skincare routine because it's probably the most evidence-based thing that you could be applying to your skin, not only to protect against premature skin aging, but to protect against a sunburn, most extreme form of sun damage, as well as prevent premature skin aging, dark spots, hyperpigmentation. Sun protection is also key for controlling many inflammatory skin conditions like acne, melasma, rosacea. In no particular order, let's start out with a Korean sunscreen that I discovered this year, Haruharu Wonder Black Rice Pure Mineral Relief Daily Sunscreen SPF 50+, PA4+. This is a mineral sunscreen. Zinc oxide is the active ingredient. It's very lightweight, doesn't leave a really strong cast. But, it does leave a cast. All mineral sunscreens pretty much leave some degree of a white cast on the skin. But what I really like about this formula is that it's actually moisturizing, but not super greasy or shiny. It's kind of a demi-matte finish. Makeup goes on over it really well. Now, in addition to the active sunscreen ingredient zinc oxide, it also has sodium hyaluronate, which is the salt of hyaluronic acid, really good for improving moisture content in skin's outermost layer, smoothing the skin's surface. It has ceramides, which are lipids naturally found in your skin, and applying them topically can help improve barrier function. We know that unprotected sun exposure can actually damage the ceramides in skin's outermost layer, so that's a good thing to also have in your sunscreen. Niacinamide I talk about at length in the majority of my videos because it is so widely found in many skincare products, but it's actually a really good ingredient provided you tolerate it. It can help improve dark spots. It can also help with redness. It's anti-inflammatory. It has anti-aging benefits. It's an antioxidant. It can cut down on oxidative stress that leads to premature skin aging. It's also really good for skin's moisture barrier and can actually help improve ceramide production in skin's outermost layer. Easy to tolerate around the eyes, as are majority mineral sunscreens. No fragrance, really nice consistency, actually moisturizing, not drying. Don't really have anything bad to say. This is one of the best all mineral sunscreens I've tried this year. Number 2 is another Korean sunscreen that I discovered this year, this time on Amazon. P.Calm Water Barrier Sun Cream SPF 50 PA4+. Now this is a texture kind of similar to the Isntree Hyaluronic Acid Watery Sun Gel that I also really love, or the Beauty of Joseon Sun Relief Sunscreen. It has some really good sunscreen active ingredients for broad spectrum protection: Uvinol T150, Uvinol A+, Tinasorb S, and Mexerol SX. So those are UV filters that aren't approved for use in sunscreens in the US, but are elsewhere in the world, and in my opinion allow for formulations of chemical, aka organic sunscreens that are less irritating, easier to tolerate, more cosmetically elegant. This has glutathione. That's an antioxidant that may help cut down on oxidative stress, shows promise for people who deal with hyperpigmentation. If you'll remember back to my videos on hyperpigmentation and dark spots, oxidative stress in the skin stimulates the melanocyte to make pigment unnecessarily, so antioxidants in theory can cut down on that and help conditions related to hyperpigmentation, whether it be post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation or melasma. Madecassoside comes from centella. It's also anti-inflammatory, has been shown to be beneficial for wound healing. Now this is an organic sunscreen. Those sometimes can burn and sting around the eyes. I did not find that to be the case with this at all. One around the eyes, easy breezy. It does have a little bit of a shine factor to it, as do most sunscreens, but overall not too bad. No white cast. Okay, Cetaphil launched their Healthy Renew line this year, and if you watch my skincare empties, you'll see I finished off several products, well 2 from that line that I really enjoyed. In the realm of sunscreen though, their day cream SPF 30 is one to consider this winter season because the formula is so moisturizing. It's a nice rich cream. It's an organic sunscreen. It has homosalate, octocrylene, octisalate, and avobenzone. It has rice leaf extract in it, which is anti-inflammatory. It has peptides derived from botanic ingredients that have been purified and help improve moisture content. It also has soy extract. Now, soy isoflavones are anti-inflammatory, show promise for improving skin yellowing as it relates to aging. This is a really nice drugstore facial moisturizer with sunscreen. It's a great one to consider this winter season for keeping your skin protected and moisturized. Now, this bad boy makes its way into pretty much every sunscreen empty video on this channel. It is the Dermatology Universal Tinted Moisturizer SPF 46. This is one of my favorite, most repurchased sunscreens. I did a video recently actually on skincare. I keep buying over and over again our most repurchased skincare products from the year 2023. This made its way in there. I mean, I buy this all the time. It is a hybrid sunscreen. First hybrid sunscreen I mentioned in this Empties video. Hybrid sunscreens are kind of the best of both worlds in terms of inorganic, aka mineral, and organic, aka chemical sunscreen active ingredients. Often are less irritating to people who are sensitive to the organic sunscreens, but they're also less casty in comparison to an all inorganic sunscreen. They do leave a little bit of a cast depending on your skin type, but overall are much less casty than like an all zinc or a zinc titanium dioxide sunscreen. They tend to be easy to tolerate around the eyes, as is the case with this. Now, let's talk about the tint here. The tint comes from iron oxides. And we've come to learn that visible light from the sun plays a huge role in hyperpigmentation. Sunscreen active ingredients don't protect against that visible light, but tinted sunscreens through the iron oxides may offer protection against that piece. So if you have skin that is prone to discoloration, dark marks, or you're looking to fade dark marks, choosing a tinted sunscreen is recommended for that reason. Speaking of hyperpigmentation and dark spots, this has niacinamide in it, which again, an ingredient that definitely can help with tackling dark spots and preventing them. As a side note, niacinamide also shows promise for supporting the needs of acne-prone skin. It's not an acne treatment, but it does show promise for people who have acne-prone skin. I do think this is a great formula for people who have breakout-prone skin overall because of that, because of the good UV protection and because of the visible light protection, which helps with post-acne dark mark prevention. The niacinamide also is beneficial for cutting down on redness as it relates to acne and healing acne. I know a lot of people deal with post-acne redness. The formula is very lightweight, it's moisturizing, it's not greasy or shiny, it's fragrance-free, it has a bit of an odd odor. I always have to point out to people, I think it smells a little bit like a pool float. When you're inflating a pool float, it kind of has that smell. I sort of find that smell pleasant, brings back fond memories, so I kind of enjoy it. It doesn't linger, but just be aware of that. I always get questions about that. It's not too orangey or yellowy. A lot of tinted sunscreens, they just don't hit right in terms of the shade that you get. But this is good. It's very complimentary on the skin. Speaking of tinted sunscreens that hit the mark, Colorescience Sun-Forgettable Total Protection Face Shield Flex. Now, this is a bit of an investment piece, if you will. So one of the more expensive sunscreens in this lineup. SPF 50. It's an all-mineral sunscreen, zinc oxide. This one's water resistant up to 40 minutes. The aesthetics of this are what also make it, in my opinion, worth the price point, in addition to the really good sun protection and the visible light protection, which, as a side note, the visible light protection from the iron oxides, that's something that we have, in recent years come to learn the importance of. Sunscreens are not required to prove that their formulations actually protect against visible light, but Colorescience has actually tested their formula for visible light protection and shown that it does. So that's one reason why I also really like it, is that I feel a little bit more confident that the iron oxide density is such that it actually is offering the protection. This product though, I like it so much because, first of all, it's a really unique formula in that it comes out white, but as you blend it in, the pigment blooms. So the pigment starts to come out and the white goes away and the tint comes out. So it really, as you're blending it in, that's how the pigment comes out. The other thing about this is that in contrast to anything else I've mentioned at this point, this actually offers pretty decent cosmetic camouflage, meaning it kind of masks some of your dark spots, kind of hides them. It's kind of almost like a BB or CC cream in that regard, that you get some color correction, some cosmetic camouflage. It's buildable, and you can wear makeup on over it easily. It comes in several different shades. This one is for medium skin tones. Highly recommend this. Look out for sales because Colorescience sometimes will have really good sales. They just had one around, Black Friday, of course, 30% off. All of their sunscreens, as a side note, I have found to be excellent. Like, I love the Total Eye Renewal one. That's amazing for cosmetic camouflage and brightening up the under eye area while also delivering sun protection. Then their original Total Protection Face Shield is another fantastic tinted mineral sunscreen. They also have the sunscreen powder, which is a great option for mattifying any shine from a sunscreen. I wouldn't rely on it exclusively as your sun protection, because when you use the powders, it's not as though you're getting a solid layer of protection. You're just getting dusting here and there. But the advantage of using a sunscreen powder to mattify as opposed to just your makeup powder is that you are actively depositing even more sunscreen on the skin surface. And one of the issues we know about sunscreen application is that most users don't put on enough sunscreen to achieve the SPF that's stated on the label. So anything that encourages more application, reapplication, putting more ingredient on the skin helps the user get to the desired density on the skin surface. So I really like the SPF powders for that reason, not necessarily for reapplication, but really just for mattifying the shine and things of that sort. Especially if you have oily skin, it's a great option. Anyway, Face Shield Flex, one of my favorites, really innovative formula, very cosmetically elegant. Last but not least, in the sunscreen game, I actually finished a sunscreen stick. I'm not one to use sunscreen sticks too often. I do here and there. Sunscreen sticks, they suffer the limitation of they are prone to skip areas, meaning, you spread it on the skin, but you have areas where you skip. So when you use them, you want to do multiple passes back and forth on the skin, and then you want to physically rub it in. That's the correct way to use them. It may not be the way you like to use them, but that's the correct way. I do find they can be handy though for touch-ups on the go. But this one is by Beauty of Joseon. I reviewed it a while ago. Was it earlier this year? Their matte sun stick, Mugwort plus Camellia. It has really good sunscreen active ingredients for broad spectrum UV protection. Uvinol A+, which is excellent for UVA protection. It has Tintasorb S and Uvinol T150. There's no white cast with this. It has centella, which is anti-inflammatory. Turmeric root extract also is anti-inflammatory. Hyaluronic acid and glycerin are hydrating, and panthenol is very moisturizing. So where I ended up using this though, and why I ended up using it up, is this was actually my SPF lip balm I've been using a lot on my lips. There's a tiny little bit left here. But these sunscreen sticks are kind of handy for using as an SPF lip balm. I think last Sunscreen Empties, I shared with you guys how a great SPF lip balm that I really like and highly recommend, is pretty affordable, is the Up and Up brand's version of the Banana Boat SPF lip balm. Either the name brand or the Up and Up version are great options. Fragrance-free organic sunscreen SPF 50. But also consider the sunscreen sticks as SPF lip balms. Easy to apply to the lips. Don't tend to be drying like a lot of facial sunscreens can be if you end up trying to use them on the lips, just in my experience. Really good option in that regard, especially if you have a sunscreen stick laying around. Try using it on your lips. That's a great use of it as an SPF lip balm. Lips are really vulnerable to sun damage, more so probably than any other location on your face, because the skin there is a lot more vulnerable in general. It doesn't have as much of a protective outermost layer. There aren't many, if any, melanocytes, the pigment producing cells. So there's not that pigment to offer some protection of the DNA in your skin cells. And there's also a lot of exposure, and things get on the lips through eating cosmetics that might be irritating, allow even more sun exposure in, make them more vulnerable. So wearing an SPF lip balm is really good. Plus, now that we are in winter officially, you can get chapped lips very easily in the winter because the air is very dry, especially if you live somewhere that's cold and windy. The wind just sucks the moisture right out of your lips. A good SPF lip balm will not only protect the lips from the damage from UV, but it also will actively protect the skin because it's in a moisturizing base. So that's a really great option. And the other thing about protecting the skin of the lips with SPF is that sun exposure also weakens barrier function and can make the lips even more vulnerable to losing water, becoming dry, chapped, irritated. So SPF to the lips is a must. All right, y'all, that wraps up my fall sunscreen empties for you guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video. On the Insulate, I will link my skincare hair care empties video from the other day in case you missed it. Check it out next. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.